Today we're going to talk about polygenism and monogenism. This slide was made by me and Brady.
So what is polygenism? This is basically the theory behind human race has evolved from two or more ancestral types. This basically is stating that we did not come from a specific couple, which would be Adam and Eve. This specific theory is non-biblical. And then you have monogenism. This is human race ascending from a single pair or a single couple. Christians view this as Adam and Eve. Not just Christians, but Jews, Muslims. Those are some more religious views that do think that monogenism is correct. Christians are the ones that believe that Adam and Eve were the single pair. And then you have the Enlightenment period. This is late 17th century to 18th century. This is basically when people were first starting to trade things, travel the world. This is when they started having racial encounters. And so they started to think, okay, that person's a different color than me. They look different than me, different skin types. So they started to think, okay, well, how could they come from someone that I came from if they look, different than me? And this became more widespread on into the 19th century. You have the out of Africa theory. This is a widely accepted theory to this day. The polygenic is no longer really favored at this point. This theory basically states that about 200,000 years ago is when people first started to be on Earth. And then it was all in Africa. And then after about 50,000 years ago, that is when people started to ascend from Africa and started to go throughout the world. So this theory states basically that everyone is descendants from Africa.
We're going to talk about Immanuel Kant. Immanuel, he was a monogenist. He went by the Bible. He was a German philosopher and one of the foremost thinkers of the Enlightenment period. His comprehensive and systematic work in epistemology, which is the theory of knowledge, he believed there were four races, and in the climate theory, and always based his views on hypocrites. The races that he had were Mongolian, Malayan, Ethiopian, and American. This is Johann Blumenbach. He was a paleogenist and an outspoken monogenist. He was a German physiologist. He provided much fire of paleogenism. So, unlike Immanuel, he created five. Yes, he had four that Immanuel had, but created a fifth one, which is Caucasian. He created the term Caucasian, referring to them as the prettiest people. The name came from the Caucasian Mountains. Johann was the first to develop modern racial classifications. He emphasized that morphological and behavioral distance between races were not fixed and static. Believed racial differences were results of different climates. Charles Darwin, I had to add because it's one the second scientist that I've ever learned about. But I found out that he was a monogenist, but in his theory he didn't go biblical, and he did not include Adam and Eve in any of his theories about monogenists. All right, Henry Keynes. He was a polygenist. He was an American author, an early anthropologist who published sketches of the history of man. He argued that God created many peers of man, and each one was specific for a different climate.
Okay, we have the Tower of Babel. This was a post-flood event. Genesis 11, 1 through 9. Pull that up. It says, "Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain, and they settled there. They said to each other, 'Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly.' They used brick instead of stone and tar instead of mortar. Then they said, 'Come, let's build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth.' But the Lord came down to the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, 'Any people speaking the same language that have begun to do this, then nothing they plan will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other.' So the Lord scattered them all over the earth, and they stopped building. This is why it's called the Tower of Babel, because the Lord confused the language of the whole world, and he scattered them all over the earth." So basically, they were trying to build a tower up to reach God, and he noticed that this many people speaking one language and understanding everything could be dangerous. And so a lot of people believe that different races could have potentially been at the Tower of Babel. And then when God decided to spread and everyone spoke different languages and stuff, that could have been where races were scattered throughout the earth. Okay, and so our thoughts, Spargo and I are monogenists. We do believe that we are from Adam and Eve. One thing that I noticed whenever I was doing some studying, Adam and Eve, on down the line, you know, Cain and Abel and everything, they eventually led to Noah. And then Noah, during the flood, everyone was wiped out but Noah. And so basically, Noah restarted the human race according to God in the Bible. And so we all came from Noah, which came from Adam and Eve. The Tower of Babel could possibly have been a racial scatter. I'm not really for sure. I think I believe more on the Noah theory. And then, Spargo, do you have anything?
I have Genesis 1:27, which said, "So God created man in his own image of God. Of God created he him, male and female created he them."
And then we have our references. Thank you.